Boom. Yo, happy Easter to those who celebrate. I really don't know what kind of world we're looking at anymore after this. We all want peace. What? Oh, okay. Yeah, there's like so much going on that you really can't trust everything that's being told to us, especially if the military is telling us that, especially from the government. Like, it's really a bad time to be reporting on the events of the past weekend. Trump continuously says that, oh, we're having good peace talks, and then afterwards the Iran will say, like, we haven't spoken to him. Matter of fact, he says, he thinks the deal will be done by Tuesday, and Iran has told Pakistan and India and the other mediators, don't contact us anymore regarding this. So yeah, things are getting shaky. I don't know what this weekend holds for us. I don't know what he thought was gonna happen when he posted this tweet. This tweet stirred up all kinds of, and it's really actually it stirred up issues with his base. Like, his base, Alex Jones is saying he has dementia, 25th Amendment, gotta remove him and shit. Alex fucking Jones, the man who said that Sandy Hook was a hoax. He's saying it's time to 25th Amendment him. But what are we gonna do? So many people are calling to remove him. Candace Owens has come out that he needs to be removed. Like, shit, I have seen at least 3-time Trumpers say that I voted for him 3 times, but we need to remove him and salvage what we can.
Insane public announcement to commit war crimes and then potentially genocide against the people of Iran. It's gotten so bad that people like Piers Morgan and Marjorie Taylor Greene are openly condemning Trump's rhetoric, demanding that he retract the statements, even as Fox News works aggressively to either sweep the statement under the rug or at the bare minimum sanitize it, and we have to talk about it. But before we do, if you end up liking this video and you want to support the channel, please be sure to hit the like, subscribe, and alert bells before you go. All right, folks, it's kind of like a split-screen view of the right wing at the moment. So we're going to talk about Piers, then Fox, then Marjorie Taylor Greene, okay? Just disparate reactions. Now, as you know, earlier today, Easter Sunday, Trump said this: Tuesday will be Power Plant Day and Bridge Day all wrapped in one in Iran. There will be nothing like it. Open the fucking straight, you crazy bastards, or you'll be living in hell. Just watch. Praise be to Allah. President Donald J. Trump.
That part really got people mad that he says praise be to Allah. And, like, for me, it's just like praise be to God. That's all that means for me. But other people that, oh no, why would he say that to the Muslim God? Why would he say that to the I don't know either. I think he said it more as a jab at them than it was like, oh, praise be to Allah or praise be to God. I think it's like, oh, praise to your Allah that I haven't done it so far yet. But yeah, like Tuesday will be Power Plant Day and Bridge Day. Attacking civilian infrastructure for collective punishment is illegal. It is a war crime. And it just doesn't make sense if you're anti-immigrant, because you're creating refugees and people, you're creating asylum claims. Like all those people that we bomb their towns and make them unlivable, they could come to our border and be like, yeah, my country was bombed by you and there is no water or anything, and I'm being persecuted because I protested because Trump told me to protest, and now I need asylum. Boom, that's a valid asylum claim, and they can get status here. So, all in all, this war, any war really, is just a waste of time and money and lives, and we could be doing so much better with our money and our American lives, and instead we're getting planes shot down in a foreign land and having to go rescue them with 100 commandos.
Now, again, the whole world is reacting to this, just visibly stunned by Trump's insane, not only the F-bomb, obviously, but the war crime rhetoric behind it. Then, as we talked about in our most recent video, Trump is openly threatening to escalate it to potentially genocide, saying repeatedly, we'll blow up the whole country, he says repeatedly to ABC's Rachel Scott. In response to this, Piers Morgan, Donald Trump's longtime, long-suffering BFF from across the pond, said this is embarrassing. Deleted President at Real Donald Trump unless you want everyone to think you've lost your marbles,
Yes.
which of course he has. He's a malignant narcissist, he's a sociopath, he's a war criminal, he's incredibly corrupt, incredibly authoritarian, and he's profoundly stupid, and it's all of it at the same.
It is. President Trump's advisors are reportedly texting Iran's foreign minister Aragachi in an attempt to continue negotiations. Two sources involved in negotiations said the talks are also taking place through Pakistani, Egyptian, and Turkish mediators.
Time. Now, what's interesting is 20,000 people have already liked Piers's tweet, right? Because it's just that, it's that obvious that Trump needs to do this. George Conway, never Trump Republican, says he had never had marbles. Why pretend otherwise at this point? Which is something that George recently tried to persuade Piers to understand. Like, look, your buddy's an idiot and he's insane. Like, he's just a dangerous combination. But Piers, of course, is still desperate to try to give Trump credibility. He knows that this rhetoric will only exacerbate issues. And to give Piers his flowers, he has been vocally...
Now we're threatening Europe. If Europe won't allow us to use the bases we man and fund for their defense when we need them, we ought to close them down and remove our troops from Europe. This is all part of the plan. If they get attacked by Russia, we can discuss whether or not we have the time to help. Russia gets Ukraine. Israel gets Palestine and South Lebanon. And we take over Cuba, Venezuela, and every other Latin country that doesn't have a military. What are we gonna do? What is gonna happen? How are we going to stop this from getting any worse? Like, bro, this is not good times.
critical of Trump's Iran war since basically the beginning, risking and jeopardizing his friendship. I wish he would be harsher, and hopefully he will in tomorrow's episode of Piers Morgan Uncensored. It remains to be seen, but he's recognizing that this is indicative of Trump's madness, his insanity. Rather think that deleting it won't reverse that impression. Mate, unlike oil tankers through the Strait of Hormuz, that ship has sailed. Let's see. You're surprised he's lost his marble now? This lunatic lost it from the onset. It's too late, Piers. The marbles are long gone and gone for good. Americans should speak with post-war Germans who still to this day wear the collective guilt of a psychopathic leader, and so on and so forth. Again, people pointing this out like, Piers, you've been blind to this from the beginning. This is who Donald Trump has always been. But again, it's good that someone as prominent as Piers on the right is calling it out. We'll get to Marjorie Taylor Greene in a moment. Now I want to pivot to Fox News to give you a contrast. Fox News has been working overtime to either sweep this under the rug or sanitize it. Aaron Rupar noted today Fox and Friends has completely ignored this absolutely insane Easter morning post from Trump. Hasn't been mentioned on air this morning. Okay? Then Peter Doocy of Fox News mentioned the post, but said it like this.
His patience is running thin. His latest post on Truth Social has some really bad words in it, so we're just going to give you the gist of it. He said, Tuesday will be Power Plant Day and Bridge Day, all wrapped up in one in Iran. There will be nothing like it. Open the F word straight, you crazy B words, or you'll be living in hell. Just watch.
So that's Republican Congressman Darrell Issa, who thankfully has lost his seat because Democratic Governor Gavin Newsom of California, in response to right-wing gerrymandering, gerrymandered his state further, which is good, fighting fire with fire. Republicans took the first swing. Newsom swung back. Darrell Issa is losing his seat and is reportedly retiring. Good. Fuck him. He's a loser. So you see Darrell Issa, like the loser he is, just chuckling along, and also Peter Doocy, like the loser he is. Well, he uses some bad language, threatening war crimes. That's so funny. That's how Fox is treating this. You had Shannon Breen, who took Chris Wallace's place as the host of Fox News Sunday. She's supposed to be just, again, the pinnacle of just straight news journalism, just balls and strikes, no bias, calling out the right and the left, no matter who's in front of her. You're just supposed to give them a hard time, have an adversarial interview, the way Chris Wallace used to do it. She is no Chris Wallace. This is how she characterized Trump's statement.
The president, with some very colorful language today on Truth Social, has said the deadline is ticking, and we're going to start taking out plants, electronics, infrastructure.
President Trump says that several days ago the U.S. and Iran were close to an agreement to hold direct negotiations. Then he explains why he decided to bomb Iran's bridges. But then they said they will meet us in 5 days. So I said, five days. I felt they were not being serious, so I attacked the bridge. This isn't fucking serious. This is. There's something worse going on right now. This is just a build-up for it. Oh my goodness. I can't wait for the normies to get hit upside the head. Like, I told y'all. I can't wait to say I told y'all. I can't wait to just be like, listen, I've been warning y'all. You all said I was annoying for warning y'all. But here we are. Dictator-in-chief.
Bridges, if they don't reopen the strait. So
very colorful language, and omitting the fact that, again, at a minimum, it's probably a war crime. Then finally, Fox and Friends reads it on air. Again, after trying to sweep it under the rug, after frantically figuring out how the hell can we cover for this or position this? What can we possibly do? This is how they finally addressed it.
All of this following the president's post on Truth Social, where he talked about these negotiations with the Iranians. We'll pull this up. He says, quote, Tuesday will be Power Plant Day and Bridge Day, all wrapped up in one. In Iran, there will be nothing like it. Open the effing straight, you crazy bastards, or you'll be living in hell. Just watch. Praise be to Allah. The president posting there on Truth Social about this ongoing operation and his new red line for the Iranian regime. Now, the president also provided...
So again, I appreciate the fact that they acknowledge that this is a war correspondent. Again, I appreciate that, but it's like, man, come on. Like, no acknowledgement that this is almost certainly a war crime, and that, again, afterwards, Trump doubled down to Rachel Scott, and said effectively he would commit a genocide. He would just bomb all of Iran if Iran doesn't reopen the Strait of Hormuz. I want to pivot briefly before we go back to Marjorie Taylor Greene, but speaking of right-wingers, CNN discussed this, and you had Scott Jennings, a total unprincipled loser, whose entire mission is to get clicks and own the libs. That's his entire worldview. He gets humiliated when he is in front of any liberal. A friend of the show, Adam Mockler, for example, routinely humiliates this guy. I don't want to kink shame, but that seems to be Scott Jennings' kink, is being humiliated by people twice his intellect and half his age on live TV. And now they film it, obviously. It's done on live TV, so I guess it's technically pornography of a sort. But I digress. Scott Jennings weighs in on this, as well as Trump's former campaign manager.
Escalate.
Bill, you've always been someone who speaks softly and carries a big stick. This is not how you negotiate things, in my experience covering you.
Yeah, and that's my personal. But this is also the first war fought in this age of social media with this president. I think he does things very differently. I think he does things in his own way, different than Biden, different than Obama.
The difference is he lies, steals, and cheats. The difference is that he has no intention for peace. His idea of peace plan is him ruling Iran. Like, he said it before. And if you can't believe the words that are coming out of his mouth, like, why would you negotiate with him? It's like, okay, so we were negotiating and then you killed our leader. Why should I negotiate with you more? Like, this literally puts us all in danger.
Obama, and I think we're seeing this playing out this morning.
You know, the irony in all of this is that Iran has shown its capabilities in two ways, where the United States is unfortunately catching up. One is using cheap drones, which is they've been providing those to Russia to use in Ukraine, so they have lots of experiments with that. And the second is the meme war and internet propaganda, which is something actually the Iranians have been known for and influencing. And so they had, for all of our talk on our side of all the people killed in the regime, they have been pushing out through multiple channels around the world images of the American army generals and military people who have also lost their jobs at this time.
So again, no real reckoning from Trump's campaign manager, Bill Stepien, about this. He's actually kind of defending it, carrying water for it. But you know who's a former top Trump advisor and MAGA cultist, his strongest warrior? Marjorie Taylor Greene, and she's condemning this. Quote, he's gone insane. MTG absolutely bludgeons Trump in fiery reaction to Trump's, quote, evil threat against Iran. Former Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene called out Donald Trump's new threat against Iran in stunning fashion, claiming it shows, quote, he's gone insane. Greene's comments followed Trump's Truth Social post in which he warned of attacks on Iran's bridges and power plants if the Strait of Hormuz is not reopened on Tuesday. So let's take a look. On Easter morning, this is what Donald Trump posted. Everyone in his administration that claims to be a Christian needs to fall on their hands and knees and beg forgiveness from God and stop worshiping the president and intervene in Trump's madness. Madness also being a phrase that Piers Morgan has recently used to describe Trump. I know all of you and him, and he's gone insane, and all of you are complicit. I'm not defending Iran, but let's be honest about all of this. The Strait is closed because the U.S. and Israel started the unprovoked war against Iran based on the same nuclear lies they've been telling for decades, that at any moment Iran could develop a nuclear weapon. You know who has nuclear weapons? Israel. They are more than capable of defending themselves without the U.S. having to fight their wars, kill innocent people and children, and pay for it. Trump threatening to bomb power plants and bridges hurts the Iranian people, the very people Trump claimed he was freeing. That's a really good point. At the initial predicate of this war, right before the war began and shortly thereafter, Trump said in part or in whole, this was to save the Iranian people. I will be their savior. I will help them. I will help lift them up against the tyrannical government of the Ayatollah. And it is true that the Ayatollah and the Iranian government were and remain incredibly authoritarian and repressive. Now Trump is saying, I'm going to kill you all. I'm just going to destroy your entire country if you don't reopen the Strait of Hormuz. That's a really interesting point worth noting. On Easter of all days, as we Christians should be reminded that the Son of God died and rose from the grave so that we can be forgiven once and for all of our sins. Jesus commanded us to love one another and forgive one another, even our enemies. Our president is not a Christian. Ouch. Finally, recognition from a Christian ex-MAGA cultist that Trump has never been a Christian. Is not a Christian, and his words and actions should not be supported by Christians. Christians in the administration should be pursuing peace, urging the president to make peace, not escalating war that's hurting people. This is not what we promised the American people when they overwhelmingly voted in 2024. I know, I was there more than most. This is not making America great again. This is evil. That's Marjorie Taylor Greene. Right-wing libertarian Glenn Greenwald, who also tried to sanitize Trump during the 2024 election and now has egg on his face because, of course, Trump was always morally, ethically, and militarily, in terms of his ambitions, in terms of peace, always inferior to Kamala Harris. Whatever you want to say about Kamala Harris, I know people say, well, she campaigned with Liz Cheney. She mentioned once during the DNC that we're going to have a lethal military. Well, of course you want a lethal military. You don't want a weak military. Even if you don't want to use the military, every nation on earth, every advanced nation on earth has some sort of self-defense corps, military corps, and you do want it to be effective if and when you have to use it. But Glenn Greenwald just glommed onto that. Liz Cheney, lethal military. She's the new neocon. Again, objectively, the Biden-Harris administration did not start wars. It's perfectly fair if you want to criticize the Biden administration for its complicity in the genocide against the people of Palestine by Israel, but Biden didn't start that war, right? Biden is not starting the war like Trump started the war with Iran. So again, to be very clear, Kamala Harris on her worst day, Joe Biden on his worst day, is better than Trump when it comes to peace and making peace and not starting foreign wars than Donald Trump is on his best day. And that was always obvious. Glenn Greenwald was always wrong. We were always right. He was always wrong. He has become critical of Trump, so we're grateful about that. But he also gets really offended when people point out, like, hey, dumbass, never Trump Republicans and liberals and progressives who were outspoken against Trump from the beginning. We all saw this coming, and you...
Been right this whole time.
We have an unexpected breaking news follow-up to our previous video about Donald Trump's insane Easter Day morning message in which he threatened to commit a bunch of war crimes against the Iranian people if Iran's government doesn't immediately reopen the Strait of Hormuz. And he even dropped an F-bomb in that message. The world was stunned, and the American people are openly advocating for Trump to be removed from power via the 25th Amendment. Well, Trump was confronted about that message by an ABC reporter, and Trump doubled down on it, saying that if there is no deal to reopen the Strait of Hormuz, quote, we're blowing up the whole country. He's taking a shocking message and elevating it even further on this national holiday, threatening to commit war crimes and potentially genocide against the Iranian people. It's what you do if you would blow up the entire country. But before we unpack all that, if you end up liking this video and you want to support the channel, please be sure to hit the like, subscribe, and alert bells before you go. I don't know what to call it other than not just a threat of war crimes, a threat of genocide. Trump doubles down on Iran threat in new interview after his shocking post. If there's no deal, quote, we're blowing up the whole country. Donald Trump has bumped up the timeline for the end of the Iran war, saying now that it will be over in, quote, days, and if not, he'll blow up the whole country. Trump made the comments during an interview with ABC News White House correspondent Rachel Scott on Sunday. So let's look at that thread. Rachel Scott, whom, by the way, is an excellent journalist that Trump has sparred with multiple times. She has fact-checked him. She has asked him all sorts of uncomfortable but perfectly fair questions. He's lost his shit at her again and again and again, and she has not backed down one instance against the most powerful man in the world, who also happens to be effectively a mad king. So kudos to her. She says, spoke with Donald Trump. He told me the conflict should be over in days, not weeks, but if no deal is made, he's, quote, blowing up the whole country with, quote, very little off the table. Quote, if it happens, it happens, and if it doesn't, we're blowing up the whole country, he said. I asked if there's anything off limits. Quote, very little. That's not very encouraging. He's already threatening war crimes in the form of an attack, a purposeful, malicious attack on Iran's civilian and energy infrastructure. Again, according to most experts and according to, veteran U.S. military personnel, people who worked and served in the U.S. military at the highest levels, that's a war crime, and Trump's dialing that up to 11. Going to blow up the whole country. Quote, we're blowing up the whole country. I asked the president if his 2-week timeline still holds. Quote, it should be days, not weeks, Trump said. Quote, it should be wrapped up in days because no sane group of people could stand the punishment that's going to rain down on them if it's not, end quote. Trump also told me he doesn't think
Tel Aviv is getting hammered tonight. Ballistic missiles. They said the third round of ballistic missiles in 15 minutes. Men interceptors soaring above Tel Aviv. It's a never-ending cycle. They shoot you, so you shoot them. They bomb you, so you bomb them. Who pays for it? Us. The civilians, the people, not the men in power. Not the men in power. They're safe in their bunkers. They're safe with their security details. President is safe in his fucking bunker. He's building a new bunker. Why is he building a new bunker?
American troops on the ground is necessary as of right now. quote, I don't think it's necessary, but I don't rule anything out. And I should note that Trump has dispatched thousands upon thousands upon thousands of American troops to the Persian Gulf, to that region, in case they need to be deployed. When I asked the president about his comments to Fox saying there could be a deal tomorrow, he said he didn't know if there would be, saying, quote, I have no idea with these people. Quote, there could be a deal, and there could also not be a deal. I don't know, and I have no idea with these people. They're getting the shit beat out of them, and that's all I can tell you. There's been no country now that's ever taken a pounding like that. So again, this is not very encouraging because Trump is openly saying, and which, by the way, the most inane statement imaginable, most vacuous statement imaginable. Could be a deal, could not be a deal. Yeah, no shit, right? It's not Schrodinger's deal. Like you either have a deal doesn't exist in the quantum state. It's either you do have a deal or you don't. There's nothing insightful about that whatsoever. And she's looking for insight. She's looking for insight. But Trump's saying, I don't know. I don't know with these people. He has no conception of the Iranian government. Apparently, he has no understanding of his enemies whatsoever. The president tells me he was testing NATO. Quote, this was a test for NATO. I don't need them, but I wanted to test them. I said, I'd love to have you guys get involved. And they said, well, we can't do it. I said, oh, that's okay. I didn't even give them a hard sell. They probably said, oh, he's a terrible salesman. But all I did say, love to have you involved. I was doing a test. I didn't need that, right? They're a paper tiger. Paper tiger. They have no ships. They have nothing. And Putin has zero fear of them. But I did it as a test. Again, this is so insane because there's no reason to believe it's a test. We have every reason to believe he's in over his head. He thought he could run Russia.
NATO is a defensive contract or whatever, treaty. Attack. If one of us, you is attacked, one of us is attacked, we're all attacked. You know, Article 5 and all that shit. To expect them to go in and help us clean up our mess is just naive, and it shouldn't be a part of global politics. The world is worse off because of what we're doing, and his expectation that the world was going to come and save him after we've tariffed the fuck out of them all, and how they've had to go and make new treaties and alliances and make trade better for themselves.
Roughshod over NATO, and to be
there are
to
trade
be fair
deals
to him,
that benefit them and
Trump
not
has
the
been
US.
running roughshod over NATO because these other leaders of NATO have been absolutely obsequious, and that's their fault. I understand. I get it. They're leaders of their own countries. They have to think about the welfare of their people. But it's playground rules in the sense that if the bully shakes you down for your lunch money and you give them your lunch money, they're just going to keep coming back for more. Eventually, you have to say enough. The answer is no. The answer is no. And it seems like they're finally getting there, but they have trained Trump to believe that he can treat them this way. It's not right. It's wrong. He should be condemned for doing it, but they also have agency in this. What the hell were you guys thinking? You should have linked arms and stood up to Trump sooner than this. And you, by the way, have set the standard for future presidents, perhaps even Democratic presidents, to say, you know what, screw diplomacy. I'll just run roughshod over you. It's quicker, it's easier. The American people might confuse it for strength. And you've given me no incentive to use diplomacy. So if there are any European leaders out there watching, yes, please be sure to like and subscribe. But you need to train presidents to say, hey, listen, if you work with us diplomatically, you'll get more out of us than just trying to bully us. Right? The Biden way is more you have to tell presidents that the Biden approach, the Obama approach, is more successful for America. Not just because of high-minded values and principles, but in terms of actual results. You need to tell Americans, hey, listen, if your presidents work with us, instead of trying to bully us, we'll give you more. You will benefit more. That's what you need to show. Otherwise, you're going to incentivize the next president, whoever it is, Republican or Democrat, to just run roughshod over you the way Trump has. Sorry for that tangent. Let's continue. I asked Trump if Todd Blanche will be the nominee for Attorney General. Quote, he's doing very well. He could, he said. I mentioned there's a lot of names floating around for that position. Quote, everyone wants it, but Todd's doing very well. He's been with me a long time, he said. Quote, he's very much freed up. Now, Todd Blanche used to be Trump's personal attorney. And that's precisely how Todd Blanche has behaved as Deputy Attorney General. Just like Pam Bondi, also a former Trump personal attorney, acted as Attorney General, Todd Blanche's boss. They both act like they are personal attorneys of the sitting president, and that's not what they're there to do. This is the most corrupt, most politically dependent, not independent, but dependent, most politically weaponized Justice Department we have ever seen. And
the U.S. government lied about Iraq and Afghanistan. There were never any weapons of mass destruction in Iraq in 20 years to replace the Taliban with the Taliban in Afghanistan. But Iran is totally different because the government would never lie.
We're only 1 year in. We have 3 more years to go. I asked the president if he would move back his...
Why didn't we just put the women in charge of Afghanistan? If we would just put the women in charge of Afghanistan, do you think the Taliban would have been successful?
deadline for Iran. He said, quote, I don't want to talk about it. They have plenty of time to make a deal. If they don't want to make a deal, quote, their whole country is gone. And again, I don't know what to say about that other than it sure sounds like we've gone past war crimes to outright genocide, right? War crimes, genocide is a war crime, right? It's a form of war crime. It's the worst form. But simply committing war crimes is not necessarily evidence of genocide, right? But if you're threatening to blow up the entire country, you're talking about war crimes of a mass scale that would probably constitute a genocide. You're looking to destroy whole or in part an entire country because they're not capitulating in ways that you want in a war you started. And by the way, Trump's already committed war crimes in his war against Iran. He blew up an Iranian elementary school, killing more than 160 Iranian elementary school students. 13 American service members have died because of Trump. People are responding to this. This is the description of an intent to commit war crimes. Trump ABC tells the Iran conflict should be over in days. Donald Trump is a senile megalomaniac who will destroy our country if he isn't removed from power. Sounds pretty desperate of an exit strategy. I want to refresh the page here.
Oh, and I guess that is the answer to they're negotiating. Negotiations are close to a deal. We should have a deal on Tuesday. Yeah, okay. If we were close to having a deal on Tuesday, I don't think they would be fucking striking Israel right now.